Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg, weekly show where I play a game half-heartedly and poorly while I yap about nonsense. I don't think this game looks good with DLSS. Maybe I'm over-sharpened. I don't know. Probably am over-sharpened. Oh, this game just doesn't look good. That's weird. Anyways, yeah, we're playing some Diablo 2 Resurrected. Not because I've been playing it, obviously. But, just because it's here. It exists. Yeah, I have been watching some, like, challenge run videos of Diablo 2, though. People doing some crazy-ass shit. Yeah, but obviously, I've mostly been playing Dominion 6, Rise of the Pantocrator. I don't even remember. I don't remember anything. I don't remember anything. I don't know what's good anymore. Yeah, I don't know. Right. So yeah, this week on this channel, we had plenty of Dominions, as always, and Silk Song. That's gonna continue for another week at least. I think what I uploaded part 14 or something, and there's 20, I think. Something like that. So that'll continue. And then there's also solo RPGs, which I obviously have a lot more of that to go. And that plan's not really gonna change, you know? I do have that Observer game that I recorded, and then I do have... I was starting to record this game called the Crimson Diamond, and then I discovered Dominions, and that was months ago, and I completely abandoned it. So, it's that. Lego and I did finish playing Hollow Knight last night. He actually beat Hollow Knight. Granted, it was with a bunch of mods that made the game easier and showed him where all the items were on the map and let him do bench warping and blah, blah, blah. But still, it's an impressive feat for him, and he was quite pleased. I finished with like 105% or something. I didn't really want to fight Nightmare King Grim. You're playing Triangle Strategy. You hoped that Final Fantasy Tactics remake would have looked like it. The 2.5 HD aesthetic is really beautiful. I did like the aesthetics of Triangle Strategy, yeah. For whatever reason, I just didn't really get into the gameplay too much. I'm not sure. I probably could give it another go. There are a lot of, like, tactical RPGs, tactical strategy games now.
I hear foul creatures about.
every time I look at the Steam like releases and stuff, it's just like, yeah, here's another like three action roguelike games. And then here's another like 3 strategy sort of games. And then here's 3 hentai games. That's the Steam releases. Oversimplified Final Fantasy Tactics mechanics without the job system. Wow. I don't think you could sell me less on that game if you tried. And a lot of people are talking about Final Fantasy Tactics, which is good. I hope that gets us like a new Final Fantasy Tactics game, but I really just have no interest in picking up the remake. I mean, I could just to support the endeavor, but I don't know if I want to support it, really. I mean, they cut out a bunch of good shit from the PSP version, and it's sort of a lazy remake. I don't know. Final Fantasy Tactics is one where I would actually have liked it for them to actually go in and, like, tinker with it. You know, like, I'm not a purity kind of person here where it's like, no, the sanctity of the original. Do not touch it. It is perfect. No, Final Fantasy Tactics is not perfect. It's a great game, but it's very much shows its age when it comes to the mechanics of like leveling up and you know, certain combat things and balance issues. Not trying to sell, just explain why people like it but don't like it at the same time. Yeah, I mean, I don't hear it was there was quite a bit of hype around when it was coming out, but then I didn't hear much about it afterwards. And I tried it a little bit, but it did not work for me. Yeah, I don't know. And then everyone's talking about Hades 2 right now. It's all the rage. And I tried to play Hades like 3 different times. I just can't. I'm a roguelike enjoyer. I am not a roguelite enjoyer. And I think a major part of people's enjoyment of Hades is like the characters and stuff, but I don't care about that. So, but for me, really, it's just the gameplay. Like, I'm not really much of an action kind of guy anymore, and I had the same issue with Dead Cells. Tried to get into Dead Cells like 4 different times. And it's like, every time I try, it's like, wow, this is really fun. Yeah, I like this game. This is good. And then I die, and it's like, well, I fucking hate this game now. Like, I just lose all progress. And I don't know why it bothers me more, because I like roguelikes, where you definitely lose all progress when you die. And even more so, because there's no meta progression. But, I don't know, there's something about just, like, I don't know. Weird. Like, I'll play Cataclysm. And you'll play it for, like, 80 hours. And then you'll fucking die to a bee or something that shows up. And that is pretty annoying. And usually you save scum that. Maybe that's my problem with roguelites. You can't save scum. They need to give us Tactics Advance with 2.5 HD and they'll sell good. Yeah, that would be pretty good. That would be pretty good. You find that without the job system, unit management is massively easier to do. But I don't want easy. I want the Dominion's sticks of tactical RPGs. You got into vanilla Dead Cells for a good time, but then they added way too much extra content. Now it's ultra bloated and you can't enjoy it. I don't know. It's just something fundamental with rogue lights. And it almost doesn't even matter about the genre. Like, I'm trying to think of any rogue light that I enjoy.
I can't carry anymore.
I can just look on my Steam. I think they all bundle it under rogue likes, which annoys me. But that's pedantic, I suppose. So, like, they have Conquest of Elysium 5 under rogue light. And I guess it sort of is, because it's not like Rogue. The game Rogue. But it's also not usually what we think of with a roguelite, which involves meta progression. I don't think there's a single roguelite that I've played for more than like a day. No. I mean, I have a bunch of them on my Steam account. There's probably like 40 of them here under roguelite. And I look at all of them and I'm like, yeah, I enjoyed playing that for like 8 hours. Like various card games and other things. Like Wild Frost I enjoyed for like 5 hours and then I was done. Monster Train, Slice and Dice, Noita, The Last Spell, Chrono Arc. Chrono Arc was pretty good. I probably should go play that again. Mystery Dungeon series has enough roguelike to keep it enjoyable, but not too much where you give up on it. Mystery Dungeon. Isn't that Pokemon? I think it is Pokemon. Yeah, I don't know. Like, just all my life, I guess, has been building up and waiting for Dominions, it turns out. Weirdly enough. I would never have guessed that. It's its own series that does collaboration spin-offs with other series. Okay. Mystery Dungeon. Oh yeah, you're right. Began when the co-creator of Dragon Quest was inspired by someone else's experience with Rogue. Huh. But the real question is, like, how casual it is. Because I often think, like, why don't I just get into NetHack or something? Like, why don't I just put some hair on my balls and play a real roguelike? I mean, I could play Rogue, but I think that's a bit maybe too old for me. Although it would make for an interesting video, perhaps.
Hi there.
But it's becoming increasingly obvious as time goes on that I really like just like obscure, lesser known underplayed old games that no one really talks about. That's sort of my genre. Or not even lesser known, but like, I don't know. I really enjoyed my time playing through the Gold Box series. I really enjoyed a lot, like Might and Magic 3, 4, and 5. Those were all really fun. So it's tough these days to sell me on like a modern game.
Yes?
Probably a waste of money. Anyways, that's nothing to do with nothing. I feel like my... that's nothing to do with nothing.
Good evening.
Over on the Exploring series this week, we had... It'll come to me. The answer will come. The brain will process. Was it a phobia? I think, yes, it was. It was the one with the fingers. Chromatophobia, I think, right? That was a good one. I like that one quite a bit. I don't really read YouTube comments, so I don't know how other people felt about it, but I liked it. Don't even get you started on the super unintended RNG that the series has. It was created when the program was going on 5 days of no sleep, basically ODing on sleep meds and alcohol. And they just keep that going for the whole series? Honestly, yeah. I mean, the fact that they don't change it doesn't really surprise me. There are loads of game series that would, like, greatly benefit from just, like, let's go back to the drawing board on this shit. Let's put our heads together on this and actually change something. But they don't, because it's just, this is the way we've always done it. This is how the series works. Sheer and the Wanderer is insanely good, but very frustrating. Okay, well, you're selling me on it, I'll say that. I'm okay with dealing with some weird bullshit as long as the game's good. But yeah, it's like, so I've been playing a lot of Dominions. I have about 41 nations left to play as after going through all the vanilla nations, all 102 of the vanilla nations, and basically every modded nation on the workshop. I think there are very few people on this planet that have played more different types of nations and Dominions than I have. That's not really something to brag about, though. But now, you know, there's Conquest of Elysium, and I don't think it's as good of a game. I don't enjoy it quite as much, but I am kind of excited to look at all the different classes in that game, especially because there's some really wild, like, even more wild modded stuff for that game. Like, there's StarCraft mods, there's 40k mods, like Alien versus Predator, there's a Fire Emblem Nation, there's just loads of stuff. Warcraft stuff, Warhammer Fantasy stuff. So, yeah, I'll be busy with that for a long time. So that's what this channel is. This is the Illwinter fan club now. They're porting the same RNG code since the first game because it's impossible to recreate considering the condition it was created under. Well, sure, but you could literally just remake the game. And that's a tall order. I get it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get it. I get why they wouldn't. But I mean, I don't know how fundamental of a problem it is. Like, obviously, it's not stopping you from playing, and I assume it's not stopping you and other fans from like buying another entry in the series. But if it was stopping people from buying new entries in the series, then that's probably something they should consider. Right, so this week I worked on a horror movie video. And there's only going to be 2 horror movie videos this month. This is one of 2. And it's on a 2018 movie called Butterfly Kisses. It's a good movie. Enjoyable to rewatch it this week for this video. We'll see how people feel about it. I mean, it's not really... I mean, it is a horror movie to some extent, but it's also just kind of like a look, somewhat deconstruction of the genre of found footage horror movies.
I am overburdened.
You've almost finished the game in an immaculate run, then you stepped on a tile that destroyed all the stuff in your item bag. Ooh, that's pretty rough. I don't know if I can abide by that. I don't know, I could see shit like that making you not be interested in the game or the series anymore. It can't be that big of a franchise. I think I've only heard of the Pokemon one. But it might be bigger in Japan, like a lot of things are. Yeah, so Butterfly Kisses is tomorrow, and then back to SCP, and then I'll be doing a horror video on Pulse from Japan. A very, very, very good horror movie, and one of my favorites. Certainly more well-known than Butterfly Kisses, I think, but I gotta talk about it. It's too good. I gotta spread the word. You've played every Sheer in the Wanderer game in creation. It's addicting to play an actual brutal roguelike. So how does it compare to, like, I don't know, Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup or something? Because that's a pretty brutal roguelike. Like, that's a game I died a lot of times on and had to restart runs. But just really satisfying to win. Actually, we should do another series on DCSS. I haven't looked into that game in quite a while. Right. So, this week in the world of RPGs, continuing my family's run with Tales of Argosa in a homebrew hex crawl. And they are kind of invested in Barrow Maze, although they don't really know it. They're definitely getting an inkling that the place is quite big. And it is.
I can't carry anymore.
You have to manage your time in the dungeon very carefully, because it can kick you out if you loiter too much. Also, important NPCs have to be recruited from dungeon encounters, so luck is key.
I am overburdened.
Right, but what I mean is more like, can you just die in like one hit from an enemy you haven't encountered before that just can show up, and it's just like, yeah, well, now you know. Now you know what that thing's like. Good luck next time. That's what I think when I think of like kind of a brutal roguelike. That was the meta progression of the old days. It wasn't, you didn't unlock things, you unlocked new knowledge about the game with each run. Which is obviously something that doesn't appeal to most people these days. I just assume something that's done a crossover with Pokemon and stuff is somewhat casualified compared to like what's like NetHack or DCSS or what's the other Angband is another big one. Monster houses are also brutal. Step in a room with 30 level 100 dragons when you're level 5 is crazy. Okay. So is the Pokemon one just like, was that one casualified, or was that just like, we hope this appeals to Pokemon fans? I just assume Pokemon fans are perpetually like 9 years old. That's all. I have very low opinion of those people. That's maybe a little mean, but okay. Let me restate. I have very low opinions of Pokemon game. So at the end of the last session, they actually got out of Barrow Maze. They were back in town, and they decided to do a long rest, so they sat around for a week. And they did a few other things, like one of them apprenticed for the blacksmith, and Lego actually commissioned like a set of plate armor from the blacksmith, which was going to take a couple months, or like, yeah, it was a couple months, so quite a while. Things like that. And, you know, it's just like they wanted to like train to increase their strength, and it's like, okay, you're talking about like an 8% increase in your physical strength over the course of 1 week of weightlifting. It's just like, it's just not going to happen. Maybe if you luck into some magical steroids or something. sort of casual in the story run. Post games, it becomes very challenging. It was dumbed down in the initial run to make it appealing to children, but the real game starts in post. Okay. Well, that's a pretty smart way to do it.
Greetings.
So if I was gonna pick one to get into, which one would you recommend? I see there's one on Steam from 2024. So I imagine that's how a lot of people are getting into it. But at the same time, I tend to start at the beginning. So the first one sounds kind of appealing. Right. So, yeah, so they spent a week lounging about, getting their long rest, and they were talking a little bit about what to do. I think a couple of them spent the week sort of organizing the town a little bit and paying the town a little bit to help build up the stone wall around the town. They're trying to replace the wooden wall with a stone wall, so they're helping that along. And they did some good work on that. And then they, so they were talking a little bit about what to do, and then my nephew's like, I think for once we should actually try and finish a dungeon. And it's like, I love that he's having that idea now and trying to push that on this dungeon specifically. A 400-room dungeon. Sheeran the Wanderer 6 is a good start if you want to intro the series before you start at the beginning. Sheeran has no overarching plot. It's pretty self-contained apart from NPC callback. Sheeran the Wanderer 6. Well, I see they stopped numbering them, so I assume you're talking about the most recent one. Yes. Okay. Well, it's on Steam. That does make it easier. Yeah, alright. I may have to actually look into it. Does sound kind of fun. But I do also think that I should do some more videos on Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup now that I mentioned that. I wonder how that one's been updated. They number them in the Japanese titles, but not the overseas titles. Numbers are scary to Americans. So they went back down into the Barrow Maze after resting and purchasing some stuff. Some miners. They bought like some spears. I actually had to remind them about the discussion we had last week about doorway strats. And having a second line of spearmen while the frontliners tank in the doorway. I had to remind them about that. And they were like, oh yeah, that's right, oh yeah, oh yeah. It's like, my God. God! So they went back down into the maze. And they got back down there, and that was when I was like, oh, actually, I feel like I should say that your characters would realize this. I talked about this, I think, last week. That those tomb robbers that you encountered must have come from some other entrance. I don't think I stated that to them, but I sort of intonated that they guessed that. They figured what I was trying to say. That, you know, obviously they weren't part of the bandits, you know, the pack of bandits that they found under the tavern. They weren't with them, so they must have come from somewhere else. And then I told them that your characters would know this, that, there's an area near town known as the Barrow Mounds, where there's a whole big collection of barrow mounds, and it's kind of a creepy area that locals avoid. And I really regretted it afterwards, because anytime I say something, they just assume that I'm trying to tell them and direct them to go somewhere or do something. So anytime I mention anything or just kind of remark on something, they take this as like, oh shit, he wants us to go here. And it's like, no. I don't. So they literally left the dungeon they were in and traveled for half a day to go to a different entrance to the same dungeon.
These stones serve some...
And what am I supposed to say? Like, no, you can't. You don't. You stay in the dungeon now. It's like, okay, you do. And I regretted saying it. I mean, I don't really care about that aspect, but I regretted saying it because I had not thought about this too much, because I just play too much damn Dominions. But I had put the main entrance into Barrow Maze underneath the tavern in their town, because I thought that was kind of cool. But obviously, the main entrance is somewhere. And normally that's not an issue. Like, if you take just a dungeon with one entrance, and you can put it anywhere, you know, it's whatever. It's an entrance. But when you have a mega dungeon that has multiple entrances, it gets a little trickier. So the main entrance is, you know, among the barrow mounds. And there's, like, other entrances. So I had to kind of, like... I gave them the map of the barrow mound area that has, like, 60-plus barrow mounds in it. And, of course, they wanted to beeline towards where there were footprints and stuff like that, where there were activities. Which, of course, is around normally where the main entrance is. But the main entrance can't be the main entrance, because the main entrance is now under the tavern. So I had to then, on the fly, be like, okay, I have to find a new room in the dungeon where this former main entrance leads to. Because I can't pick, like, a different entrance, because that'll overlap then if they ever find that entrance. And then I'll just have the same problem, but in reverse. So I had to find a new room in the dungeon to just put a new entrance in. Which, I have not read the dungeon, like, at all, because I've just been playing Dominion, as I keep saying. So, this was very much just on-the-fly, improv DMing and adjustments. So I found a room, like, relatively not that far away through the dungeon. Not that close to where they were. And it didn't have any monsters in it. That was the key thing. I didn't want there to be any monsters, because then I could have just removed monsters, but no. I just picked one that didn't have any. I'm like, yep, so it just leads down into this room. There's just a hole in the ceiling. And there's a rope. And in the room, there's like this altar to the god of the underworld. Which is fine. But then in front of the altar is a pit. And in the pit they hear voices like crying out, and like this weak voice crying out in pain. And in the module, normally there is a dwarf that's got stuck down there. And if they bring him up and give him water and food and stuff, he joins their party. That's what the module says. I was like, okay, that sounds fine. They could use the help, I suppose. But they really like this one goblin character that's appeared in every campaign now, named Ray. And I'm like, fucking, you're like, what do I care? So I changed the dwarf to Ray, and oh my god, they were so happy. They still are talking about it today. They're so glad I put Ray in there. Like, oh, it's just brilliant. That was brilliant. Like, was it? Was it really? So they got Ray, they gave him a crossbow, and the rule that I used for the last game we played was that he doesn't have to roll to hit because it's just obnoxious. So he automatically hits every round for 1d4 exploding damage. Which, when we were playing like Draw Steel or something, that's fine, you know, like it did lead to some pretty awesome rolls where my aunt rolled like 3 4s in a row. But I thought for this game, you know, OSR kind of game, that's a little bit strong. He just is basically like one of the strongest characters around. So I just made it a D4 not exploding. He might get exploding on that eventually if he levels up or something. But for now, it's just D4 auto hit, which is pretty good, but not anything like crazy. Because they don't really do anything. I mean, they don't try to break that or something. Like, okay, shoot that guy down the road like 500 yards. Like, no, he just is in combat and he auto hits. So then they continued, and soon they came across a room that had like 8 tomb robbers in. And they're like, these are the guys, this must be the guys. And I explained that Ray had been a part of that group, but he fell down the pit and they just left him there. So he really hates him now. He's like, yeah, let's get him. So, no negotiation, they just, I allow the rogue to use ranged weapons for backstab within short range. Because, I mean, it makes sense to me. So they, she back shot one of them in the neck, and the fight started. I think they actually lost initiative. So, but it ended up with doorway strats regardless. And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty quick fight. Tales of Argosa characters level 1, level 2 are pretty hardy compared to just the average bandit, you know? Like, the average bandit has 4 hit points. The average level 1 Tales of Argosa character has, like, 12 or 13 hit points. Which is quite a bit higher than sort of like an actual old-school D&D character would have. An actual old-school D&D character would probably have an average of, like, 4. So you're way stronger in Tales of Argosa. But it does even out way more. Like, at level 6, you will probably not have as much as, like, an OSE fighter. But overall, I mean, the power level's obviously a little higher because you get exploits, you get 1 unique things, you get actual abilities. So it's a little higher, but they prefer that, and I kind of think it's fun. But it's all good because they don't like dying. So yeah, they kind of decimated the.
Overburdened. I can't use this yet.
Fuck you. They kind of decimated the pack. And of course, they didn't search the room afterwards, even though, you know, I thought it had been ingrained in them to search every room, but no, they didn't search, so they missed the gold that the robbers had hid. And then they kept going, and yeah, I mean, they did a couple things. They were obviously kind of underprepared as far as like their equipment. They came across like a chalk map and they wanted to make a copy of it, but no one had a quill, no one had parchment, no one had even like a piece of charcoal or something, like nothing to write it down on. They did come across a key that had like a book engraved on it, and then right nearby was a door with a book engraved on it, but it had 2 locks. So they have to find the other key. And what are the odds they're ever going to find that other key? We'll see. I think it's relatively nearby. They came across a staircase leading up, and the module just literally does not mention the staircase whatsoever. Has no label, has no entry in the module. I couldn't figure out what the fuck it leads to or what it's for. So eventually I was just like, I think it's probably just blocked off. Like, it's just filled with rubble or something. Either that or I just have to make up an entrance, which maybe that's what I'm supposed to do, but I tried looking through a bunch of different sections of, like, running the dungeon and all that, and I just couldn't find any mention about random staircases. So in the end, I told him it was just blocked off. But I guess you could just have it lead up to another barrow mound, or just, I don't know, have it lead up to the earth. It could just be an alternate exit. I might change my mind.
Not enough mana.
I think they fought a couple more things, and I decided not to use the underclock this time, and decided to just go with straight, old school, random 1d6 rolls to determine if there's random encounters. And shockingly, I never rolled a random encounter the entire night. Which is... it's random. I can't argue with that. But that is one of the appeals of the underclock, is that there always will be an encounter eventually. Like, before not too long. You can get on dry streaks, or you can get on hot streaks with random rolls. We'll see what next week brings. But yeah, so that was it, and they ended the session in the dungeon, and they're doing. I mean, they're getting a lot of treasure. Like, Barrow Maze is filled with loot, so I'm curious to see how it'll like imbalance things. But remember, if they die, they go back to level 1. And I reminded them about, like, the carousing rules and the XP investment rules, so they can invest money into future characters. We'll see if they ever do. Because it is quite a bit of money. I mean, I can't argue with that. I have it set at 100 gold is worth 1 XP for future characters, and so you have to put in 1,000 gold to start your next character at level 2. But honestly, they're not... I mean, I don't think they have enough right now for all of them to put in 1,000 gold into their funds. But they're getting quite a bit. Honestly, yeah, for running Barrow Maze, I should have just adopted a traditional XP mechanic. And just had it be where, like, every 100 gold they get is worth 1 XP or something. Or literally just taking the XP charts for, like, I don't know, the OSC fighter or something. Which is 2,000 gold, essentially, to get to level 2. So that technically it'd be every 200 gold they get in Tales of Argosa, they get an XP. Which is basically how it's running right now. I mean, that's where most of their XP is coming from. They just get a little bit extra for fighting and stuff. But they're really enjoying it. I mean, they're all really liking it. And I like running it because it's really not too complicated. I don't have to do much prep. Even though I probably should sometimes. And Tales of Argosa is just a fun, easy system, so it's all pretty good. And that's that. So, more Dominions this week, more Silk Song, more solo RPGs. And I don't think I've even uploaded anything about Tales of Argosia yet. No, I have not. So I keep talking about this system every week that you haven't seen it all, but it's coming. I have a bunch of videos on Tales of Argosia because it's kind of my favorite sort of... Yeah, it might be my favorite system, but with a good amount of modifications to it. And over on the Exploring series, a horror movie video summary on Butterfly Kisses. Don't let the name fool you, it's a very good movie. But for now, my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. I'll see you fine folks next week.